It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell out with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell out with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, ooh, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, ooh, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, ooh, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth About Progressive News Show with SBS3. I am your host, Marlon, along with the glowing Anna Hart at Theas. At today's show, yes, you can see we're doing the news review. Last week, I did like 2-3 videos a day for the first 3 days and everything, and we're going to go and review them.
We're going to review your videos?
Yeah, review my video, yeah. Look, including one where I'm reviewing myself. So, making that a trick or anything or gotcha, yeah. The second hour of Am I the A-Hole will comprise of a Worst Husband of the Year candidate, a Mafia video of the week, a positive story of the week, and straight into Foxy's videos of the week.
Hey, can I say something before we move into our stuff?
Yeah.
It took me a while to get here, but I am crushing on Jasmine Crockett.
I love her.
First of all, it's like I didn't really pay no attention to him because she's progressive Democrat, so I didn't pay no attention. But I love her fire. I love everything about how she conducts herself. But then also, she's gorgeous. Like I didn't know. I didn't pay attention.
And the honesty,
Not that
and
matters.
the way she carries herself, of just everything about her is gorgeous. And I mean that in a fully rounded way.
I am now a member of the AOC and Jasmine Crockett fan club. I still, their politics are kind of for me, but I like what they're doing.
they're better and they're more aligned with what I think than anyone I've ever voted for.
I would agree with that.
So
Oh, did you see her more recent video? It wasn't a video. It was like an interview. It's kind of making its rounds on YouTube. But
I've seen a couple of interviews lately, which
yeah, it was. I don't remember what podcast she was on, but the guy was like, "How are you guys organizing to fight back?" And she's like, "Well, you have to have a quarterback." And he was like, "So, who's your quarterback?" And she's like, "It's Jeffries." And he said, "Oh, okay. How's he doing?" And she just had this long pause. And she said, "Well, he's doing good. Many people think he's doing good."
oh,
This is so funny. It's like she's too honest to be able to just roll right into the lie. So the pause was deafening.
Jasmine.
hey Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey.
Chuck Schumer is trash.
Yes, he is. He's been trashed.
He is
for
absolutely
years.
yeah. You can go, Chuck. You are not a
Yeah.
leader.
He's
The entirety of Biden's presidency, he was garbage. Like, you never heard from him. He was
Nope.
dead silent. So, yeah,
Like,
in my
we
opinion, he has
always heard from Mitch McConnell. We always heard from the Republicans.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer is garbage. I mean, he's one of the and Jeffries is just like him, and Nancy Pelosi too. They're all they're corporatists. They serve
Yep.
Wall Street. Period. Not point blank, because y'all also got to look at
There's some
Chuck
others.
Schumer. He serves Israel, specifically Zionist Israel.
Yeah.
So you got him serving Zionist Israel and serving corporate Wall Street. He's like, I don't know what he is, but he's not a Democrat, right? Well, maybe he is the true definition of a Democrat. That could,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Hey Parker, hey, what's up? March Madness bracket just got revealed a couple hours ago. I don't care. I literally know beyond a shadow of a doubt I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, I was at my parents' house yesterday, and my dad was watching a basketball game, and I'm like, "Oh, it's basketball season!" Like, I don't know what's going on.
I literally it dwindled down to this, and it's so funny with me because it went from I'm not going to watch it until it gets down to the Sweet 16. Then that dwindled down to I'll watch it when it gets to the Elite Eight. Then it went down to I'll watch it when it gets to the Final Four. Then I said I'll watch it when it gets to the championship. I don't know who these teams are, so I just stopped watching. I just like, I don't know these teams, so why waste my time?
I never paid close attention. I think Schumer is worse than Manchin because Manchin, where he's at. Like, if you really paid any attention, you knew where Manchin was on just about anything. He was a Dixiecrat. That's what Manchin is. He's a Dixiecrat. Schumer is just gross. And the way he's like sold out the entire house like that, like, forget him giving a couple of his senators cover. He sold out the entire Democratic House.
Let's fight him. Oh, let's not. You
Maybe
look
if we
like
play
a
dead, we'll
wimp.
win.
And you get thanked by Trump for this.
Yep.
Huh.
Hey, I was explaining the difference between hope,
Naivete,
and toxic possibilities of someone in the comment section.
I've never heard of toxic positivity. I ain't never heard of that.
Never.
I think I can deduce what it is, but I never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Does everything have a toxic component nowadays?
I guess it could.
I mean, the attitude was always
I
there.
hope
It
she
just
does.
never had a name to it. So toxic masculinity, toxic this, toxic that. But the attitude has always been there. Now we have to label everything.
Yeah, we create new labels for everything instead of addressing the actual issue. We just throw a new label on it.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, it's like, how about we get at some of the roots? Instead of rebranding everything, like we are on like a rebranding tear. Like,
Yeah.
but anyway, I hope AOC runs against him, but I don't know what the implications of that could be. So
I think the only way AOC runs for the New York Senate seat in 2028 is if Schumer retires and the seat is open.
Well, people are pissed with him. He's hearing from really angry constituents.
yeah, if there's a window of time, it's probably this one, but I'm not sure because the memory of the American voter is extremely short.
Yeah.
He has all the big money donors, and Senate is a statewide competition. So how well does an AOC play in a Buffalo?
I don't know.
All right, guys, without any further ado, let's get this party started. Cuomo might try to run for the seat if he wins the mayoral election this year. That would be sad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I'm going to do something strange. I ain't going to say for the first time because I may have to do it again. The first video was about them trying to get the Black community into the fight of all the things that's going on. And I didn't realize that I don't have a video for it. It was just me talking. So we're going to review by review. So let's go ahead and just do it and pull the Band-Aid off and let's go. Hey everyone, I just wanted to jump on real quick and make a video. I want you to take a look at this article right beside me. Elon Musk Doge cancels lease at Obama library site. I also want to take a small chance to read just a snippet of a Yahoo News article. Doge and Elon Musk had a list of federal government buildings that they wanted to shut down. The list contained 443 buildings. They dropped that number down to 320, mostly removing properties in Washington, D.C. Now the list on the site is coming soon, so we don't know what is on the new list when it comes out, but we do know what one of the buildings were that they were going to shut down, and that was the Freedom Fighters Museum. So the Obama Library site and the Freedom Fighters Museum. Now, why do I bring this to your attention? Because it's a rouge. It's a ploy. It is to get the Black community so outraged that they're ready to take it to the streets. And what happens when we take the fight to the streets? Well, if you've been in America long enough, we'll be treated the same way we was treated during George Floyd. The secret police taking civilians off the street, taking them to unknown places, and then up and releasing them. The tear gas, the pepper spray, the rubber bullets. See, we as a community, at least the majority of it that I've seen on YouTube and TikTok, has decided to sit this fight out. The white community, to your credit, has admitted that you made a mistake. The white community has decided to fight back. The Asian community who supported Trump has decided to fight back. The Latino community that supported Trump has decided to fight back. The only people that's not in the fight is the Black community. At least the majority of us are not. And they're trying to get us riled up enough to get into the fight. Here's the deal. They don't want us to get into the fight. They just want us to be in the fight. When I see videos of the white community or the Latino community or the Asian community asking us to fight beside them, to get into the fight with them, to support them, that's a ruse. They don't want us to fight with them. They want us in the front so we will be the first casualties of the fight. Okay. One, I know I made a mistake by saying they don't want us in the fight. They want us to be in the fight. I know I made a mistake there. Because what I meant to say was they don't want us in the fight. They want us in a fight.
They don't want to be side by side. They want to be behind you.
Yes. They want us in a fight. Number two, and woo, I'm so glad that I called it a ruse because it was a ruse. The Obama library lease is has expired, and it doesn't mean anything. They're moving anyway. There's a second Obama library that they've been building on that should be open by the end of this year. So that's why, okay, but they can't tell it to you like that. To say we're closing the Obama library and we're the ones that did it, so we'll get mad, doesn't have the same oomph as, yeah, we're closing this library because we're moving. Second of all, and not only are we moving, the library is being funded by the Obama Foundation. You can't say that information either. So yeah, it was just a ploy to piss us off enough that you can't do that. Nope. Gotta remember, these people lie for lunch. They just do. Or
the pronunciation of douche. I'm sorry, I have to sidestep for just a moment. I've heard so many pronunciations.
That was the first time I've ever heard douche. And you just kept saying it.
Oh, well.
But
okay.
It's Doge after the coin and
yeah, I don't know anything about it, so I'll say Doge and then tomorrow I'll go right back to douche.
I love it. It was great.
So
I think with I don't know how to express myself here. I think sometimes we give people more agency than is warranted. Like who is this they that oftentimes gets summoned up in these discussions? You know, there's no, far as I'm aware, there's no organized structure that is meeting in a hotel lobby or secret conference room deciding, okay, now what we're going to do next is we're going to do a protest, but we need to get the Black people to come so they can be the first ones attacked. And then from there, we'll be able to make a speech. Like, I think I get where the sentiment comes from, because I agree to an extent, right? Like, Trump's side of the coin they very much want um, the black community to enter the streets. They very much want it because when you have been able, and this is what America has done, and the colonial powers, but when you are able to criminalize a people group, once you've been able to label the black community as violent and destructive, because you notice every time they bring up something, they bring up a Black Lives Matter protest, right? And they do that because they're trying to stir up the imagery of that and Watts and LA, right? They don't care about any of the reasons behind it, but they know that the low information consuming white American, that imagery is fearful. And they've been using that against our people group long we've been here, right? Like they label us as savages and lustful and violent and all that. Everything that they have actually been, they portray it onto us. And because we lack the ability to control the message, it sticks, right? So now you are fast forwarding into the present. And if you could just get more black people out into the protests and the rallies, if the police violently crack down on the protests, provided there's enough of us there, because we've already been labeled as violent and subversive, the rest of America will co-sign it. Right? So, oh, it's those thugs, it's those this, it's those that. So on the Trump side of the coin, yes, they are intentionally trying to provoke us, but they're also trying to provoke everybody because they want the chaos. They really, really do. Because you have the white militias that have been itching to shoot human beings for quite some time.
Yeah.
And you have the Trump secret police that have been activated. They're anxious to be able to let out some of that anger and frustration. So if they could just get that, and we're a convenient target because no one feels for us, then it can snowball, and then immediately you'll get martial law. Right now, if he wants to do martial law, he has to fabricate it because it's not as permissible to crack down on the Latinos, not because anybody has any great concern for Latinos, but because on a camera, when you're looking at the optics, you can be confused. And now you think the police are beating up on white folk. And we can't have that. Just like the women, white women and women generally are out there protesting, letting their voices be known. You look at what a lot of the white American, especially the white liberals, are doing in this moment. They're protesting Tesla. They're burning down images and structures that are devoted to that creature, right? You seen any tear gas? Any tanks rolling down the road? No, because they can't attack, or they don't feel comfortable. They will get there. But right now, they don't feel that they can attack what looks like them. They need us as the contrast. So I agree with that. But I just don't think that on the side of the resistance, that it's a fair claim to put against the white people and the Latinos and the Asians that are trying to stand up for themselves. I don't think it's fair to attribute them as wanting to use us as cannon fodder. I don't think that part's fair. But I could be wrong.
I have never ever heard that in passing in all of the planning and activities kind of around protests and boycotts and, different ways to fight back. One thing I do want to bring up is I've heard a lot of people fearmonger about martial law. When are we going to just have our military just controlling everything in the streets? When I've gone to people who they've either been in the military or oh, I forget the other guy's title, dang it. Sorry, I'm not having a great day, but basically martial law would be an incredibly hard thing to even enact. We are talking about a few million of service members for at least 340 million people. Like that is, it's not feasible. It won't be able to run in the long run. And anybody that I look up, that they seem to know what they're talking about, and they have the sources behind them and all kinds of information that I did not have. But they're saying, they could concentrate it on like one city at a time and create some great optics. But when you look at it as a whole, it's just they won't be able to get there. There is also the opinion that stepping past the white supremacists in the army, there is the majority of people, or sorry, I should say the services, all the different branches, the majority of people's would rather stick to their oath to the Constitution. I don't know. That is.
I think that's more of the it's a cliched term at this point, but it's like hopium, right? Because we said that there's no way that the Congress would give in the way it did. There's no way that the courts would give in the way that it did. There's no way that, you name your group. We keep saying somebody was going to stop something. And each time, no one, well, it's not that no one, but you don't have the power that you need to resist. So I'm saying that, like you were just pointing out with martial law, but here's one of the issues with martial law. It doesn't have to be nationwide. If you're trying to do the kind of things, the kind of takeover and reshaping that this administration seems to be focused on, you would declare martial law in Washington, D.C., because you're effectively supreme there. You would try to do it in a couple of blurple type states, but you wouldn't mess with the red states. You need them on your side. You wouldn't even mess with the blue states that are too hard to get to, but you would still declare it for, like you said, the optics and the messaging. It is not about being able to crack down on the nation. It's about being able to sell to your supporters that we're in crisis and you need to rally around the flag. That's what they need. And there's no more patriotic people in this country, right or wrong, than white Americans.
They already feel that way. They're just waiting for.
Many of them are waiting for an excuse. But then the other thing you pointed out, right? You got 340 odd million Americans versus, I don't know, 20 million military service. I don't know what the number is. But how many of the American citizens are going to be able or willing to literally fight their own army? You'll have pockets, but that's a lot of people, right? That will realize you're going up against an army that has crushed entire nations. So there's a lot that goes into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't see that type of resistance happening. I think that push come to shove, it could happen where, like, if you go over the line, then yes, people are going to react instinctively and they're going to try to fight back. They will not just lay down and let it all go. But you're going to have to go really far before that happens. And by the time you've done that, you've taken over this state, you've taken over that state, you've taken over this state. And now it gets critical, and certain people are fighting in like movie style. The Russians are coming over the hill type of thing. And then the last part, I'm a child of the military. I love the military. But the military, if you're in the military, you are trained from the moment you join to follow orders. And you are only supposedly authorized to disobey an order if you find that it is unconstitutional. Well, how many of your soldiers you think are constitutional experts? That's one. Two, the Supreme Court has said that whatever the president does is constitutional. So now the number of soldiers who would refuse orders is real small. Real small. So I don't see them as being the defense either. The only thing they can, well, not the only thing. In a more or less polite society, the thing that can stop Trump is the midterms, his health. I hope his health holds up. I'm just be real with you. I hope his health holds up, because him as a lame duck for 2 years is still better than JD Vance and Elon Musk unchained for 2 years, in my estimation.
And before we get to the next video, let me give you my explanation of why I said they want us in the front line during a protest. I wasn't meaning to say, oh, I didn't explain it. I don't think I explained it at all. I don't mean that if we join the fight, okay, all the black people get in the front and all the white people get in the back, and there you go. I don't trust this nation lately. I haven't trusted since Trump got elected. Sorry. It's just, I just don't. So I just see it in my, as Foxy said, I just see it in my third eye. The whole, okay, we're arm to arm right now. We're walking side by side. And slowly but surely, that side by side turns to, okay, I'm like the white community I'm talking about is 2 steps behind us. Then them 2 steps are now 3 steps behind us. And then 4. And then it slowly start just faded into the background. It's like that Homer Simpson faded into the Homer Simpson thing faded into the bushes. It's like, I just don't trust them. It will be gradual, but I have a feeling it would happen.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the party. But but it's just a matter of I think it's human behavior in a way. Right now you're starting to see it's mainly the young people and the old people. The people in the middle are still relatively silent, but the relatively young and the relatively old, they're very activated, because the relatively old, they already walked down this road before, and the relatively young refuse to be stuck in this, right? But we'll see.
I don't know what this means.
Who is MGT?
Then
You mean Marjorie Taylor Greene?
No, I don't think so.
Um,
Hey, Tracy, who is that? I don't know who that was.
I have no idea who that is. I don't see the Republicans nominating a woman to be their presidential nominee for at least another 2-3 cycles.
Well, they might. If they can get a figurehead who's willing to do their bidding, they might, just to prove a point.
That I agree with. Just
They ain't
so
gonna
that
put a black person or a Latino in
no,
there. I'll tell you that.
no. They'll put a woman up there who is step locked with their ideology, and then look, we're not sexist. Then, just like anything else, you won't see it for another century. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the next video. Where is Kamala? I really, truly did not think this was an actual question.
But where the fuck is Kamala? Where is she at right now for the millions of people who did vote for her?
I assume wherever the hell she wants to be. Since she's not on the payroll anymore, she doesn't owe you or anyone else a duty of care. So you should just go on about your business. If you've got a complaint, I would suggest directing it at the current administration and not at Harris, because it's not her problem anymore.
And can y'all stop making videos talking about some where's Kamala? She's at home with her kids and her husband with her feet kicked up, drinking ice cold lemonade while her husband grills her a salmon fillet. What's crazy about this whole thing is I know why y'all are saying this. Y'all trying to compare it to how we say, oh, where's Jill Stein now? Where's Maya? It's not the same. And this is not the gotcha that you thought it was. Jill and Maya were actively telling you not to vote for Kamala Harris because a vote for Kamala is a vote against Palestine. Remember that? That's what they were telling y'all. So my question to you is, why do you want to know where Kamala Harris is if y'all were the people who did not vote for her? You did not want her in office. You did not want her policies or anything that she had going on. So why are you concerned about where she is right now? And I mean, this is a genuine question. What exactly do you want Kamala Harris to do? She's no longer in office. She's no longer the vice president. She's not the president. She is no part of the administration at all. So what y'all want to do, like do a pop-up and be like, hey, y'all, I'm doing good. Just checking in on how y'all doing. Like, what exactly do you expect her to be doing at this point? It doesn't really make any sense to ask where she is.
Now, I know I didn't see what I think I saw on Kamala Harris's Valentine's Day post. Did I? White women, please step up to the podium. Some of you had the audacity to go over to her page and say, what are you doing? We need to be fighting the good fight, as if she didn't already do that. But a better question would be, what did you do in November? That's right. I'm asking you who has been at the top of the food chain for women since ever. Oh, yeah, that's right. You did the same thing you have been doing for centuries, which is go back to the white guy after he's hurt you because he promised you he wouldn't do it anymore. And then to top it off, just like before, you caused area damage with your decision making. Way to go. See, what's crazier to me is some of you quite literally read Project 2025 front to back and said, yeah, that's totally an appealing way of life. What?
So, okay. I am of two minds when it comes to Kamala. First one is I'm going to not move the goalpost on her. Okay. Kamala was the candidate that was not wanted in the 2020 election. Kamala is the candidate who became the vice president and got pooped on for the entirety of the first term. She's also the one that when it all started going to heck, she stayed loyal to the president, loyal to her party. She is a centrist Democrat. So let's not start pretending like she's a progressive maiden. Okay. And she stepped up and tried to run a campaign. And yes, the people who are all about Palestine, like I'm a supporter of Palestine, but I had a different view than some other people. But she was the sitting vice president. She could not go against the president while she's the sitting vice president. You imagine how much chaos that creates? So she was handcuffed in her own campaign. But then she lost. And I don't think that it's reasonable to then look to her and say, why aren't you still leading the charge for us, when she was never an activist? Like I personally cannot think of anywhere in her history where she's an activist, right? So she ran, she lost. She had every right to shut down, lick her wounds, because that's a major hit. Okay. Plus, she probably knows a lot more about the games that were played where she shouldn't have lost. But she has to keep the country in a certain state of order, even though she's not in office. So she's also handcuffed there. So yes, Kamala's being quiet. And just like a lot of other black women, hey, y'all picked this. Y'all could have picked her, didn't pick her. There we are. Now, that's that part. Quick pivot. I also don't think that it's really cool, like some of the people in the video just haphazardly blaming white women, because it is, white women definitely played a major role in this. But the ones looking for her were probably the ones that voted for her, right? It's not the other ones. Like, let's be a little fair about this. But I get it. That's probably too nuanced to matter. And then the other part, now this is the part for me, I do feel that her absence and Obama's absence, knowing the turmoil that their communities are facing right now, is very loud. You don't have to go out there and talk to Trump. You don't have to go out there and talk to Elon. But why aren't you out there talking to us? Why aren't you out there talking to the Asian community that Kamala was willing to big up and represent when she was running for office, but now she says nothing to them? She's saying nothing to the black. She's really shut down. Obama, he is part of the immigrant story, part of the black story, and you were the president. So you had stuff to say during the election, but now all of a sudden you real quiet, right? So that's the other side of me. The other side of me is like, look, if you feel like you just don't need to say nothing right now, despite your unique position, don't ever come back and say anything. I don't want to hear from you when you decide you want to run for governor or dog catcher. I don't know, because you decided that you didn't have to say nothing to nobody, and you left us all out to dry when you know people look to you as a leader. I don't like that. But like I said, I'm on both sides of that one.
I can see the other side. I can see the other side of where you're at when we need you the most. We have said that about many other people. We've said that our leaders don't show up unless the camera's rolling. And it's kind of getting really irritating. Well, it's irritating.
Yeah. Where's Clyburn? His butt was in front of the camera big time. Where he at?
But I also see the other side of what you're saying is that, yeah, just like the black community, we're going to sit this one out. I'm going to sit this one out.
But see,
I do like what that guy said. Where's Kamala? You want her to fight for you. She did. She did try to fight for you. And you didn't want it. So don't use that. She said she was going to fight for it. She did. And America said, we don't want that type of fight. So we're going to pick the other dude. And that's what y'all did.
But what are your thoughts as far as, like I said, there's two different sides, right? For me, anyway. There's the political side and then there's your community side. If you're not going to be active on the political side, why aren't you active in the community side?
And that's why the camera ain't rolling. But I do also have this. What did Parker say? Yeah. People generally don't want to hear from the losing candidate after the election. It's pretty normal for her to be quiet in the months afterwards. Which is true.
They begging for old ass Bernie. Right? We dust
And
Bernie
he is
off
out
after
there.
every election. We dust Bernie off, and he comes back after every single election.
Because it is an election season, we'll see them in 2026 for the midterm.
Yeah, they'll show up and they'll throw some concerts and they'll do their normal thing and they'll get their speaking fees and stuff like that. Right now, they're not going to get a lot of speaking fees, but they will when the midterms come up. People will pay for Obama to come make speeches. But then I'm like, look, if you're going to be gone, stay gone. Go build your library and don't come back.
And Tracy, I'll get to your question, so to speak, before the beginning of the second hour. But let's go ahead and get into the last one. No idea why I don't know how to spell Nebraska. It's the same letter that I get wrong, but Nebraska. Well, it's Tuesday. Let's see what's going on in the world.
The state of Nebraska has flipped around and found out as they are ready to go bankrupt in the next 6 months. Their state's economy relies heavily on agriculture, and over 70% of their workforce is from undocumented immigrants. Knowing this, they voted for Trump, hoping that he would get rid of the undocumented immigrants. And now they are severely understaffed across the entire state, unable to find enough workers to replace the undocumented immigrants who supplied their state with enough workforce. This is the find out stage of round and find out. In the next 6 months, the state of Nebraska will be entirely bankrupt, unable to support itself, and be looking for a bailout from the federal government. All because they let their racism and hate towards immigrants be more important than their economic livelihoods. There's nothing to feel bad about here. They voted for this. They knew exactly what they were voting for. Now they have what they wanted. Let's see how it turns out for them.
Hello there. Welcome to my series where MAGA supporters F around and find out that their actions have real consequences. Consequences for themselves and not just for the people they think they don't like. In this episode, we're looking at FAFO on the whole state of Nebraska, especially the farmers who drank Kool-Aid and suddenly realized it really was poisonous.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
No, we don't. We don't care. You wanted that. Now live with that. Live with that consequence. Live with that choice that you made.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Don't nobody give a damn about Nebraska right now. Not a one person. 65% of your workforce was undocumented labor who took care of all of your agricultural needs. And you, as a state, collectively decided that you were going to vote for the other guy so that way you could get rid of all of the quote-unquote illegals. What you didn't take a moment to reconsider was that these quote-unquote illegals who were doing the biggest job in your entire state for the littlest cost was exactly how essential they were to all of you. And now, whether it's because they fled or because ICE has raided all of your entire workforce, your farming industry has literally sunk into the toilet. And did you really think white people were going to take those jobs? You know how grueling it is to get up every morning at the butt crack of dawn to pull crops and to sit out there and work for pennies? You transparent looking motherfucker wouldn't be able to handle 10 minutes of that. So no, don't nobody feel sorry for Nebraska right now. You got what you voted for. Now figure it the fuck out.
Here's my thing, and it is normal. For me, it is. Is anybody thinking about Nebraska? No. It has nothing to do with what's going on in Nebraska. When the last time you thought about Nebraska? Like, seriously, when the last time Nebraska ever popped up in your head? New York,
part of the problem.
New York, California, Florida. Yeah. I ain't never thought about Nebraska until this situation. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I literally do not know what to tell you how to get out of this situation. Unless you want to do the whole waiting game and see if some of the illegal immigrants come back. I don't know how long you can hold off to do that, though. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I really don't even have any words to even add to this. So Theus and Anna, y'all can take it, calls.
Anna, you got anything you want to go?
I know why certain communities are resting. I know why certain communities are stepping up. There are people who are leading in every way, from civilians to senators and congresspeople. Like, my congressperson is one of the few that right now, where Republicans are shutting down their town halls, she and others are going in there and saying, okay, we will answer your questions as much as we can. And that means a lot, because we have extremely agitated citizens right now. And a lot of people who are getting just dumped as far as been a federal worker for years. They may have still been on probation, but it's the way you do it. The one thing that I don't like, for me, the election is not the be-all end-all. I don't like the messaging of our job is done because we have voted. Because our job is not done. There's still people hurting out there. There's still people without health care. There's still people who need help. Communities still need to figure something out so that we can maybe make a general strike work. We can't have a general strike until we have certain things in the community set up. You know, and people are talking about this. People are, we are having some really encouraging movements as far as the boycotts. You see how much stock market is going down, and people's worth, or not people, companies' worth is going down. It's not just because, even though it's greatly because idiot is out there going tariffs, no tariffs, tariffs, no tariffs, wait, tariffs tomorrow. But there are people who are like, we are trying to think, how do we only spend money on the absolute necessities? We are trying to pare down so much. There is a really big movement. I know I am a part of it. And I see a lot of people doing all kinds of different jobs. It's not just going out to protest, though that is, and it's going to be a major part coming up. Though once again, I have said on this show before, Black people, please stay home. We want you safe. And no, we don't want violence to erupt for anyone. And so we have, those who want to help, and there are plenty of people of every color, religion, nationality. For everything that makes me fearful to go on, there is something that people are trying to band together and fight for. That, sure, maybe it gives me a little bit of hope. And maybe I am a fool for that. But I gotta hold on to something. I could sit here in such utter despair and say, well, I tried, I voted. I did, I voted for Kamala. I understood the assignment. What was the number? 46% of white women also. And so, but I also understood the assignment from before the election that I needed to get involved where and with what I care about. And so I did so. I am still working with many different parts of health and putting in where I can. There's millions of people out there who's also putting in what they can. There are disabled people who are writing in and saying, I can't go to a protest. I don't have somebody who could drive me. I don't have somebody who could make sure I'm safe. So what can I do? And there are answers. Sometimes the fight is at home, calling your reps. Getting back to the basics of democracy, and that we are the people, we are the ones who should have the power in this government. They represent us. They should. And sometimes, rare, but you get somebody who does really care. Like my rep just got in to her seat. She was a state rep for just a couple of cycles, and she always met with me whenever I wanted to tell her about my story with Lyme disease and Washington State, and how the health system out here delayed my getting a diagnosis and treatment. She sat and listened. And we still communicate to this day. So I want to impress everybody that no, the fight isn't over. There is something everyone can do. You can look towards your neighbors and ask, are you okay? Do you have everything you need? Because there are people that are looking at losing their Medicaid, their Medicare. So how are they going to get to a doctor? We're wondering whether telemedicine is going to exist anymore. Do you know how many people that cuts out for just being able to access care? You know, and when the government can't stand up for us, we the people should. Even if it's just in your own community, even if one neighbor is all you can take in, or if you have kids, you're taking care of your home, you're doing your job. There's so many people that feel like it could be over. We may never have another election. It's very possible.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Nobody asked you.
Was trying to be helpful, Marlon.
Yeah,
I'm not
sorry.
quite sure how to help you with that.
See?
Yeah. Anyway, I will let that stand. I do always believe there is something to fight for.
There will always be something to fight for, and there's nothing wrong with having hope. Hope is keeping you more alive right now than despair.
Hell yeah.
I took some months off. I had to cool down.
Mm-hmm.
But I know me. I knew I was going to get back into the fight. I just can't do that immediately. And yes, I know we don't have time to sit around. We don't.
I didn't say nothing. Why because I
He's
give
talking
you
to
this
people
feature.
out there.
I know what you're saying.
But I've heard it.
Say my name, Marlon. Say my name.
Throw a rock. That's that old saying. But
no, because I definitely have said it. And I stand by it.
I heard it from not only you. I heard it from a lot of people. We don't have time to. You don't have time to get yourself together.
No, I never said that.
No, I was told.
I have heard that sentiment.
We ain't got time to rest. We ain't got time. We ain't got time. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes,
so
we do.
So if I burn myself out completely, shut this whole show down, now what? Now
Exactly.
Or you just gonna give me a little bit of time to get my crap together. I got my crap together in February. The election was in November. So what's that? November, December, January, February, 4 months. Now I got enough energy to do the next 4 years.
That's
So
one way to look at it.
So yeah.
My only contention is people who say that they need time off and they never had time on, or people who say they're tired and they ain't really do nothing, or the fact that we've known the situation for the last 20 years, but now that everything is dark and gloomy, now you want to try to step up. Now, granted, the best time other than yesterday is going to be today. So I mean, you got to start from wherever you are.
Right.
But yeah, if your lane is speaking out in public, then do that. If your lane is protesting and civil disobedience, do that. If your language is violent protests and destruction, do that. I don't care. Whatever your thing is, do that. You know, my biggest thing is, hey, perhaps the problem isn't doing something, it's what you're doing. Maybe you're not operating in the best lane for what you want to do. Like for me, I spent the last couple of years talking about politics because I believe that of all the tools in the toolkit in the run up to the election, politics is what we need to focus on. Now I don't really care about politics. I talk about it like it's a cartoon or a TV show because I've shifted. My focus now is, okay, how do you build something that can actually feed somebody when things go to crap? Right? Because even if the country is able to bounce back, I mean, think about it now. Trump is bad, but he's not the worst president that this country's ever had. So there's a very good chance country will adjust, it'll take its lumps, and it'll find a way to go back to its normal miserable project. Either way, when all this stuff settles, people are still going to need to be able to go to work. They're going to need to be able to feed their families. They're going to, you know what I'm saying? So my focus is, okay, how do we make our community stronger so that coming out of this, we have more structures and redundancy that we need? I personally am not interested in protesting anything because what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I do? What am I do? We got Congress people that ain't doing nothing on the Republican side. They're blatantly not doing anything, and they're just completely sold out. Unless you live in a state where that you can impact them, ain't nothing you can do about that. Alternative, though, is you could try to get more involved in your community. You can engage in town halls, whether they're for the other side or your side. You can engage. You can do those different things. Whatever it works for you, take a moment, think it through, and then find a way. Be the water droplet in the bucket. Enough drops, overflows the bucket. Go ahead. Apply yourself. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not surprised by this country. I've known what this country is for quite some time. I'm not surprised by how the different demographics work because I understand how power works. I know how self-interest works. I would like to challenge people to pull back a little bit from like simplistic labeling. Now, when you're trying to rally people, I get it. You need simple things because that's what helps people rally. But for your own self, make sure that you're challenging some of your thoughts and challenging how you're getting to some of your positions so that you don't lose yourself along the way and you end up becoming someone else's tool. And there's a real danger of that right now. So, But do what you want to. Oh, and one of the things, Susan had a comment earlier. She was talking about her concern for the different farmers and everything of different races, and it made me curious. So me, if we're looking at farmers in America, first of all, what's happening in Nebraska, I don't care. I really don't. I just don't. There's gonna be a lot of human suffering out there, and it ain't gonna be all white people. It's just poor people and hardworking people are gonna get screwed over majorly. But Nebraska has been doing that to its own population for a long time. So out of their desperation, they voted for their own destruction. It's unfortunate, but
then let me throw this number in because I saw it later on during the video. I try to cut it short. So 70% of the Nebraskans voted for Trump. 60% of the workers on these farms are illegal immigrants.
They didn't get to vote.
So I'm going to throw those numbers out to you.
Those numbers are important, but I also think it's something that I very seldom hear when people talk about who voted for what. The qualifier I feel is important anyway is of those who voted, right? Because it'll say 82% of black men. 82% of black men who voted voted this way. 48% of white women who voted this way, right? Now, granted, in the white community, voter turnout participation is a little bit higher, but it still isn't a healthy number. Like Americans generally just don't vote. So it's just oftentimes we'll end up inflating a number the wrong way. Right. So now everybody's mad at all white people when 40% of white people didn't even vote. So it's like, but again, that's that nuance that doesn't really help anybody because nobody wants that. No one actually wants a real nuanced conversation because we're in a desperate moment and nuance can be distracting. So people want to attach to something that's a little bit more easily packaged. I get that, but that's why I can't really engage. And back to the farmer thing, 95% of farmers in America as of 2022, 95% white. So when we say of all races, all the other races are sitting in roughly 5%. Now compare that to South Africa, where the Afrikaners, the white South African, own 70% of the land. Are anybody seeing the problem here? So, you know, there's yeah. But anyway, go ahead, Marlon. I'm sorry, sir.
No, it was your segment. You through?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh. All right, let me catch up on a couple of things. This was toxic positivity. Y'all know what it is. You just haven't known it called that. Called it. Toxic positivity hurts and judge others for being realistic. Positivity can lift other hope. Toxic positivity says, look at the bright side to obscure reality.
Oh, okay. So in a way, it's almost gaslighting. But yeah. I didn't recognize the term because I was like, it's almost hard. I mean, you can be annoyingly positive, but I had never really heard of like toxic positivity. But in that vein, okay, I get it. Because you're really pretending to be positive just to shut down the other side of the argument.
Yeah, but to me, it just sounds like they don't want to hear your issue.
No, so they're married to their own perspective. This is what MAGA does to people all the time. You're talking about what's happening to the immigrants having their children taken from them, and you know that's sad. But this wouldn't happen if they didn't come. Just imagine if we had better border control and we didn't have this problem to begin with. Then no one would get separated. We need to focus on how do we have a healthy border. Are you against a healthy border? Right? Like we're just gaslighting you and moving the goalposts. You know, like don't look at the ugly stuff.
As for the other question, MTG was Marjorie. Well, MGT. She meant Marjorie Taylor Greene for president.
Oh, okay. I figured it was a different politician, perhaps.
No, and no. I mean, just know
it could happen.
I don't see it happening.
I'm just saying it could happen.
Anything could possibly happen. I mean, since Roe versus Wade, I'm not taking anything off the board.
Well, Roe v. Wade, you know, we made videos on it back when it happened, but it shouldn't have been a surprise. We knew that was coming. We didn't know when it was coming, but that side of the table had been fighting for that for 50 years. That, you know, yeah, kind of like the stuff we're dealing with right now. They gave us a book.
Right. Anna, you got the last word.
There's not really much to say.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and get into the second hour with Am I the A-hole with a Worst Husband of the Year awards, Mafia Video of the Week, Positive Video of the Week, and Foxy's Video of the Week. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally. I always stay dreaming, never imagine I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, 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 finally. High to a bird, you, I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, I wanna be free,
We are back, and without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/Tracy Media Fan. Help support Tracy and all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, BorelliEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. Please do not forget to go to Thea's website, OurUnitedCore.com. Communities build movements. And if you need to reach me, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's radtp@outlook.com. Anna wasn't feeling well, so she dropped off, but I'm sure we'll see her next week. All right, here we go. Am I the A-hole? Let's go ahead and get into a candidate for the Worst Husband of the Year, Ashes.
My daughter passed away in a tragic accident when she was 2 years old. At the time, my stepdaughter was still coming around regularly, and we had a decent relationship. We weren't close or anything, but I tried my best to get along for my husband's sake. She was 13 at the time my daughter passed away, and my stepdaughter's mother came to my husband and asked if she could have some of my daughter's ashes to put in a keepsake for my stepdaughter. I refused off the bat. Not only is my stepdaughter not responsible enough for something that important, I didn't like the idea of separating my baby's ashes at all. My stepdaughter has since stopped visiting as much, and it's been 3 years since my daughter passed away. And my stepdaughter's mom came to me again asking for more ashes because my stepdaughter lost the keepsake some time ago and was torn up about it. I was shaking because I was clear about not wanting to separate her ashes, and I asked her what she meant. She told me that after our initial conversation that we had 3 years ago, my husband gave her the ashes anyways to put in a keepsake. I confronted my husband on this, and he shrugged it off, saying that it wasn't that big of a deal. I packed my bags, took my daughter's urn, and went to stay at my sister's house. It's been 2 weeks since I left, and he's been blowing up my phone with phone calls and texts, some begging and crying, and some telling me that I'm a butthole for blowing this out of proportion. Then today, a mutual friend sent me a screenshot of a post made on Facebook from my stepdaughter's mother saying that I'm punishing my husband for doing something nice for his only living child, and that I'm just bitter. I'm so torn up over this. Am I the butthole?
Nah, but you need some counseling. Something wrong with you. Like, this is weird. This because everybody has their own different thing, and I can't imagine how I would feel in the moment because I have not had to suffer that type of a pain. But I don't know if people realize that the ashes is not just your loved one's body. I mean, it's the box they were in too. I don't know. That's being too logical, I suppose. Look, I don't know. People grieve differently. This is a major type of thing, but I would think that I don't know, bro. I just don't know. Like I can't even relate to the story, right? Like the sister wanted some of her sister's ashes. I think that's a little different, but you know. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, I got to drop off for a second, but I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me give my 2 cents to it then. There are very few of these stories where I feel myself thinking that I would swing on somebody. This is one of them stories where I feel like I could swing on somebody. It's 2025. You ask a question, I say no. You go behind my back and you do it. Then the reason that I gave you, the reason that OP gave the mother of the stepchild was because your daughter is not responsible enough to hold on to my child's ashes. These are mine. This is my 2-year-old child. I do not want to separate it. And what happens later? Your child lost the locket. Now she's butthurt and she done lost the locket. So what do that woman come back and go? Can I have more ashes? First of all, how many ashes you gonna ask for? Till they all gone? But that's one thing. The second thing is you asked the mom of the child. She said no. So you go behind her back. Now, let's move on to the husband. You said, what did you do? Why did you do that? Why did you give her ashes? Well, it wasn't that big of a deal. Well, if it wasn't that big of a deal, why didn't you tell OP? Why didn't you tell her? Is that what you did? Why didn't you not discuss it with her if that wasn't a big deal? Why didn't you just say, hey, I think you're blowing this out of proportion. It's not that big of a deal. Just let her have some. No, you went behind her back because you knew it was a big deal. You was not man enough to talk to your wife because you knew it was a big deal, and you just hit it. So now the wife leaves. She didn't say she had a discussion with him. She just up and left. went to a hotel, packed the bag. In 2 weeks, you boo-hoo, you cried. Now it'll turn into, why are you making a big deal about this? Now, here comes the mom again of the stepdaughter coming in. No sympathy for people and being, but woman, at that point, fuck you. Your bitch ass opinion means nothing over here. Why? And I hate to be this mean, but shut the fuck up, because your daughter's still alive. You are bitching about a damn locket that your alive daughter doesn't get to have anymore. That's what I'm hearing. So I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, could give a fuck about what your opinion is. You do not know what I am going through. And I hope you don't. But you talk about some damn locket and how hurt your child is. Lady, that's hurt because you don't have an inanimate object. Now try to put that up against somebody who lost their child at 2 years old.
But didn't the sister lose her sister?
No, that was a stepdaughter.
Stepdaughter doesn't. The father is common between the two children.
I don't know what the dynamic of it is.
No, the way the story played out.
Hmm?
The way the story played out, because at the end she said that he gave the ashes, but it's like that's his other child. So like he's the father of both sides. The woman is the stepmother to the other girl, biological mom to the child that died. The dad is common between the two. So he's lost a daughter and he's the father of the other daughter.
Yeah.
Why he would.
I got an echo.
Wife, but I can see why you do.
I don't see it. Didn't talk.
But she's not in the mood to talk. And she's not going to agree with you. Now who wins?
No, now you're projecting.
No, I'm not projecting. She said she doesn't agree. She said she doesn't agree.
She said she didn't agree.
Right.
So you go behind her back and do it?
Well,
Since you got a big idea now that you don't got caught.
No. Wait, bro. She doesn't agree. He does. Tiebreaker. Who wins?
The stepdaughter, apparently, because the husband goes behind her wife's back on anything he agrees with or disagrees with in any situation. That doesn't make a marriage. The stepmom, that's not your relationship. Your daughter, I get it. I love you. Let me go talk to my current wife and see if we can sort this out. Instead of going behind the current wife's wife and just going, look, I feel this certain type of way. Can we have a discussion about it? No. Not only do you go behind her back, you don't discuss it beforehand or afterwards.
No, I agree with that part of it. I'm just simply, I mean, we're both fathers, right? So I'm just coming at it. Huh?
I said, oh yeah.
But I'm
sorry, but I'm thinking about my grandson hit his head and got a knot yesterday. So I'm like, man, this job ain't never gonna be over. Just never.
Yeah, but I mean, I hope little man feels better. He's probably running around like nothing happened.
Oh, he probably ran around about 5 minutes after he did it. I guarantee you. I guarantee you he is. But anyway, I was saying, yeah, I don't like, it's like when I tell you when people don't think it's a big deal about XYZ, all these Reddit stories we have, pick one. And it's not that big of a deal. And then they always go to somebody else and tell the story that's completely not the story. If you didn't think it was a big of a deal, tell the truth. But
Yeah.
you know it was a big of a deal. You just didn't want to face it, or you was just that type of person who just want what they want.
Yeah, you're making him out to be a villain.
I'm not.
What about her? What about her? She invalidates everybody else who also lost this child. She invalidates, in this story, she invalidates everyone else's suffering second to her own.
Except for one issue. Her reasoning was the stepdaughter is irresponsible. And I don't want to give her something that she lose. What do the stepdaughter do? She loses it.
That's fine. But my point is, to me, that part is almost like a rationalization piece, and it just happened to work in her favor. But the reality is, as she said at least twice in that story, I don't want to separate my daughter's ashes. That is the issue. So only I will have sole custody of the remains.
Okay, so what do you think about this? In this case, the mother of the child has the first and last word.
I don't know what the right answer is. I'm going to challenge people on wherever they land. You know, like to go with that statement that the mother is the first and final. She's the only authority, because that's what that means. That means she's the only authority. That means that she gets to not only navigate her own grief, but she gets to dictate how everyone else grieves.
Yeah, I don't.
Tell me how that's fair.
And Susan, I gotta admit, I don't agree with that statement per se.
But it's the same position you came out to. You just didn't use those words.
My position was whole communication. That's it.
No, that wasn't your whole point, because you were attacking this dude because he didn't communicate. But she wasn't open to communicate. So when you have a situation where you're dealing with someone, and it's only two people here, and one is not open to communicating, the other one insists on communicating, what do you do? Okay. Somebody has to lose. Somebody has to lose. So who wins, Marlon?
Right. Somebody has to lose.
So who wins?
But I want to hold a conversation to find out who loses. Not sneak
I want to talk to you. I told you that our daughters with ashes stay with me. They are not to be separated. Now, how do you talk to that?
How many times have you sat there and said, stop being afraid of your wife?
That's not the point. Conversation. That's not the point. This ain't about being afraid of your wife. This is, you had the conversation, y'all don't agree. Now, who wins?
Okay, wait a minute. So let's go with what you're saying. You hold a conversation.
You try anyway, yeah.
You said no. Mm-hmm. She, the mother, said no.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do you do?
That's my question to you.
Well, it isn't going to sneak the stuff out.
Then what's the answer?
The very least, look, then you're going to need to get some therapy. Let's figure this out.
You're going to tell somebody who's going through the grief of losing their
I would tell anybody that's going through grief.
Yeah, but she ain't worried about nobody else right now. You telling a woman who is grieving the death of her 2-year-old child, you need counseling. Your wife, you tell her that. Remember, this is the same one. As soon as she found out that he betrayed her trust, what did she do?
She left.
Right. She didn't argue. She didn't try to go to counseling. She's like, no, red line, I'm out. So it would have been happening back then or happen now. I mean, it's a no-win situation is my point. Either he has to go with what she feels, and that's it. So now he just has to swallow how he feels and help his daughter navigate her loss when he's not even empowered to really do much. You know? So it's you know.
I thought you said that was legal. Or people used to do that.
I don't think it's legal because like that's why they don't let you take ashes on cruise ships.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is wild. So I can't take the ashes on the cruise ship and dump them overboard, but you can have a trail of garbage coming from behind this boat.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna say. I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna say. You literally can't throw anything off the ship.
Correct.
So yeah, that's gonna be what.
Uh-huh.
That's
How much trash is the ship leaking as it's riding along? It's just funny how the rules work, bro. I get it. You gotta have rules somewhere. And plus, if somebody starts throwing something off their balcony, the ship is moving, the wind is moving, everything's moving. It's coming right back to that ship. So it's, I do understand. I'm just saying, just look at how ridiculous it comes down to, because those ashes aren't gonna hurt nobody except for the person who was on their balcony and had their mouth open at the time. But
or the person that's below them and it just flies up in there.
Yeah, but then you work out something with the ship. The cruise lines can work out something where you fill out the paperwork and you do all the stupid things, and then the ship lets you come down to the lower decks for some type of a ceremony type of thing, and then they jettison it out into the ocean. And see, there's ways to get through this.
There's ways to get around it, and trust me, I've been on the lower dock of a ship. Because we had to taxi, that's what they call it. Some of the islands that we went to did not have a port, so we had to taxi out to it. I got to the lower part and I went, we close to the water.
Yeah, that's where the crew lives. From what I understand, it kind of sucks.
They have a YouTube video. I'm just gonna say that, bro. They got a YouTube video on it, and it's You always got to have a partner. You both sharing a bathroom. You may not be on the same schedule.
Don't maybe not even speak the same language, and no rules or laws to govern. There's a lot of issues going on there. Also, we can have fun and be comfortable upstairs.
Yeah, they got their own pool.
Yeah, but yeah, my whole thing was just kind of getting to. There's not a clean answer in these types of situations. So I just don't like when one person gets to say that they have more power or more rights to love someone than someone else, because that's what you're doing when you do stuff like that.
It's legal in Denmark. If you get permission, you can
do it from the shore.
You can do it from the shore. Oh, she does come back and say do it. They used to do that back in the day.
Yeah, well, now
Vikings used to.
Well, that's different. That's a funeral pyre, bro. They push your little butt off into the water and then shoot you with a flaming arrow and let it just all go up. But then once you learn a little bit, you understand that setting fire to a human body doesn't burn that well.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But anyway, worse.
How well does wet wood burn?
Eventually, they get down to the wet wood, but
no, I'm just saying a human body very wet doesn't burn very well.
I don't know. We don't do it these days.
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do with me when my day comes. But honestly, by that time, I'm like literally not here. So,
I can want what I want, and I start putting stuff in a wheel. I ain't mean to get this morbid. Mafia,
so dark. Look at you.
Mafia video of the week. I don't think that's allowed anymore. Oh, it's not. No. Not even true. So this. Back to the preacher, the different preacher style. I forgot all about this because I complained about this. And I'm still going to complain about it because I think it's sacrilege. That's just my thought on it. The singing preacher.
I feel like preaching in here. Take me to A flat. I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. And if I have to beg, take me up. I ain't no feel nothing wrong with a little Jesus praise. I don't feel nothing. I was going to say bump and grind, but I didn't say that. I kept on going. Take me up. I got sunshine on a cloudy day. And when it's cold outside, I feel a month of May. I got Jesus. I said, Jesus, take me up. Oh, I'm too uncomfortable with that. Take me back down. There it is. 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top cruising. I said, I'm cruising. I'm cruising the street. I see a real pretty lady. I meet Jesus. I see Jesus. Oh.
Man, I find absolutely nothing wrong with that. I thought that was actually pretty decent. And his moves, man, those are definitely the moves. That you see. I mean, so I don't know what do you mean about sacrilegious? Because he was using like an R. Kelly reference at the same time he was, or he did a rap verse. And
You're not preaching.
Is he though?
No. And I'm gonna tell you why. You're not preaching if a huge portion of your sermon is a song and you think I'm gonna get away with it because I put Jesus at the end of the sermon.
I think there's a case to be made that that's still preaching.
That's not preaching.
Depends on what your message is.
That's just singing.
This little rock of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, right? You can sing it or you can say it.
That's a gospel song. Or
gospel is just a genre of music, bro. It's all poetry. The gospel ain't holy by its nature of being created. I mean, it's just music.
Gospel is connected to the church, spiritual.
Bruh.
Usher.
All that Kirk Franklin music you saying that's all God. That what you do? Stomp. How about Stomp? Was that one holy and religious?
I never counted that.
It's definitely gospel music.
I never counted it as gospel music.
But it's gospel music. How you get to say something that ain't something that's gospel ain't gospel?
I
win.
It's not a win or loss.
No, that was a win. I won. I appreciate you for playing. All right.
No,
Scotty, tell him what he's won.
I did not lose. And when somebody's been listening to MAGA arguments too doggone long. So if he all bad, how come he became president? I win.
No, I won because you ran out of actually having defense, and you went to was just my opinion. That's when you
what's
know
that other song then?
Huh?
What's the other song?
Oh, I'm not going to play the MAGA game where we just keep naming stuff until you can find a way to win. You already lost.
No, it's part of what I was talking about. I do not like when they take sacrilegious music, slap God and Jesus into some of the verses, and then call it a gospel song. No, I would rather deal with
sacrilegious music than sacrilegious people. So if you got preachers that's stealing out the connection plate, or you got churches that are taking money from little old ladies, but then you don't turn around and pay their electric bills. If you got preachers in churches and congregations that will vote for a guy like old boy, but then turn around and talk Jesus every Sunday, to me, they're a lot worse than a guy doing a rendition of Bump and Grind. Both of them, one's tacky, but the other one's downright sacrilegious. Like when you claim Jesus and live Satan, That's sacrilegious to me. But some people get stuck on the symbolic part, and they're like, no, sacrilegious is taking the Lord's name in vain, right? So, and that's a fair definition. It's just doesn't stack as high to me.
All I hear is toxic positivity. It's better than. It's better than. It's better than.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Literally, your whole thing started off with is better than the preacher, is better than them taking money, is better than that was
no, but what I'm saying, but you were talking about the toxic positivity, but that's not what I was doing. I was saying that they're both whatever you want to call them, but I would take one before the other. Right? I'm not painting any rainbows here. Right? I got a lot of issues with.
And I would argue you with this. Remember back in the day when they used to go, you mad at this, but you ain't get mad at this. And I don't know what it was. It was something.
Well, it happens all the time. Yeah.
A bear died, something, a bear died, but then something else happened. You're mad at this, but you're not mad at this. And I remember putting this on Facebook. I said, you will be amazed that I can actually be mad at two things at the same time.
Yeah, people say stuff like that.
I don't have to pick and choose.
You don't have to.
Yeah, so I can be mad at sacrilegious gospel music and what the church does.
Okay.
Same time. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what was the other thing I didn't like preachers do? Who knows? I got a whole bunch of them. Probably done lost count. The idea of Jesus of Nazareth as a blanket or a pretty woman bothers me. Reading his teachings and live with them as the best you can. There's your prizes behind one of these curtains. Would you like curtain 1, 2, or 3?
Always go with curtain 3. It might not always work to your favor, but always go curtain 3.
If music touch your soul as gospel, this preacher singing did nothing for me.
Yeah, I mean, gospel technically, what does it mean? The good news?
Yeah.
So
you are both hilarious, Carrie. We have some of the wildest discussions because it never really become arguments. Never got to that.
Ain't nothing serious, you know.
Oh, please. I'm not gonna argue over this.
Yeah.
There's way too many things going on that I'd rather argue with Thea's on.
Yeah, it's funny. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying this ain't one of them.
Funny. I spent the day with my mom yesterday. It was so awesome. But when we were hanging out, of course, you know me, I can't just have like lighthearted conversation for too long. Like I just can't do it. So we get talking about, church and stuff. And yeah, it's for me, one of my frustrations with this particular type of discussion. And I love being in these discussions, don't get me wrong, bro. But I mean, where I get a little like intemperate, I guess you could say, is like it's too convenient. Christianity is too convenient. And so you can argue any side of an issue that you want to at any time. Right? Like I don't want the preacher using secular music in the pulpit. Okay. Well, what about the preacher listening to secular music in his car? Does that bother you? Right? Like, it's like, where do we draw these artificial lines? And then it's like we hold somebody accountable for this, but then it's, we're all falling and we all fall short of the glory of God over here. And,
I think of it like this. Because we have to still understand everybody's preference is different.
Yeah.
It just is. Would somebody have a problem with sacrilegious gospel music in the church? No.
Yeah, I think that's the term that bothers me. It's the sacrilegious part.
That type of gospel music. But do I want my pastor sitting in his car listening to Ray Charles and Al Green? I have a problem with that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, and like I said, it's fluid, I guess you could say. But it's just like the term sacrilegious is used always to punish someone. And it's like one thing that I think we can all admit, if we're willing to anyway, none of us understand God. Don't understand him or her or it, whatever, however you classify God, you know. But no one understands. And yet we weaponize things to shame or harm or correct or whatever someone else. Just stop it.
But you notice this up this, and I think we said it before. You notice they say God. They don't never say Jesus.
Well, yeah, the people who are trying to weaponize things.
Yeah.
Right. Because Jesus is inconvenient. Jesus got red letters and you know.
And you know the teachings of Jesus.
Right.
But you can take our Old Testament and you can change the living crap out of that one.
Well, you can twist a lot of Jesus's stuff. Like I had a brief interaction with one of these people who will, you know, they'll always find an excuse, right? It's just what they do. But we're talking about guns. And I'm like, y'all are all obsessed about this Second Amendment thing. It ain't even in the Bible. The guns didn't exist back then. Like, what are you talking about? What's an equivalent to guns back then? A sword, you know? And they're like, well, Jesus told Peter to take out his sword. I'm like, yeah, but that's one piece of a verse. And then when Peter cut the soldier's ear off, what did Jesus do? He picked it up and put it back on the man's head. So obviously the violence wasn't all that okay with Jesus, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to with these texts. And then I am also one of those people who comes back and says, in very rare cases, I don't really usually do this with most people. I usually get trapped into discussing the Bible as though it's some form of an authority. But I don't even follow your rules. You know what I'm saying? Like you coming to me trying to condemn me or control me or build me up or tear me down using the Bible is about as effective as doing it with the Quran or whatever the holy book, the Torah, right? I don't follow that. I follow the principles of it because I was raised up in it. It informs my belief system. But I'm not held to your rules. So why are we debating things as though your rules are real? They're only real to you. You know?
And that's fine. That's fine. Not to you, Diaz. I'm going with your argument. And that's fine if you want to follow those rules. I do have a problem with, okay, but you can't make me follow your rules because you believe in it so much.
Well, you can if you get the power.
Can't do it then. I don't have to follow them. When it comes to Christianity, I ain't talking about anything else because, like you said yesterday or last week when I was showing the other preacher, I know too much. So you can't make me follow that I know is a lie.
That is true. But the consequence can be your life. And everybody ain't ready for that. And when you hold the power, right? Christianity has shown. In fact, Christianity and Islam have the two longest paths of using their religion to destroy people.
Oh, the Crusades.
It ain't just the Crusades. The Crusades were bad because that was them going against each other. right? But Christianity came to North America and was like, hey, convert or die.
Let me say this and then we'll move on. When everybody get a chance, I don't want to get into a discussion with it right now. Hold on. Red states and force schools to put the 10 Commandments on a poster in the classroom. They tried.
And they're going to force them to do prayer.
They
and
tried. They did fail, but they yeah.
It didn't fail. That's in place in like what? How many states? There's a couple states that's already in place.
You gotta look that up there because I thought it failed in every state they tried that in. I thought it was shut down. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about it right now. Just look up the word picnic and find a true definition of that word. Just the true definition of it, not the Webster dictionary of it. Go way, way back and find a true definition of picnic. And enjoy yourself on that one. Positive story of the week.
Currently, it's Louisiana.
It is in Louisiana?
Yeah. Louisiana is the only state requiring the display of the 10 Commandments in public classrooms. A bill in their state legislature passed last year, but is currently being blocked by the courts. But it's law. The courts are just not letting them enforce it. Welcome.
Positive story of the week. Oh, Susie, you got a point. They don't know what they're doing. The 10 Commandments were pre-Christian.
I mean, you know, it's so cute to me because like Christian, I still argue with the validity of Christianity. I think there's a very real argument to be presented that says Christianity is pagan. Because Jesus, from my studies, when I was in the church, I don't remember Jesus saying, make a religion out of me. He didn't come to do away with the law, right? He was there to perfect it. He brought grace. But he didn't say get rid of Judaism and make this new thing. Christianity came hundreds of years after he was dead. Right? So it's like, really, that's pagan. Like you created this new religion. Like the whole religion's sacrilegious if you go down that path because Jesus was Jewish.
Right.
But hey, you know, rock on with your socks on.
Let's go on to the story.
So I'm from South Louisiana, and we have a different way of interacting with people that differs from other southern states. I'm sure many people know about southern hospitality, but South Louisiana cranks this up to 11. Ask anyone who's ever been there. We don't care about race, religion, social, or economic status. If you're human, you are owed to be treated with kindness and empathy until you prove otherwise. It was a Sunday, and I had to run to the Texas-only big grocery chain to get a few things. Sunday was a big shopping day, and the place was packed with long lines waiting to check out. I walked to the closest line with a few groceries in my arms. And this was before the prominence of self-checkout, so no matter how much or how little you bought, there was gonna be a wait. It's just how things were. No biggie. So this lady in front of me had to be in her 80s and not more than 95 pounds. Her buggy was absolutely filled to the top. The people in front of her were almost done checking out when I saw her struggling to pick up a bag of frozen chicken to place on the conveyor. She struggled again with another item, and then another, and then another. The cashier starts ringing her up and simply stared at her with the impatience, while this poor lady struggled with removing items from her buggy. I was like, what the F? So I looked around and everybody was sighing with annoyance and impatience. The bagger, the cashier, the people around me, behind me. And that's when I placed my items down and asked if the lady needed any help. With the brightness and joy in her eyes, she answered, please. I then unloaded her buggy onto the conveyor and placed the bag groceries back in as the bagger handed them back to me. I was finished in no time. I smiled at the lady, picked my items back up, and got back in line behind her. She then paused for a moment. Evidently, she had been so flustered with trying to place her groceries on the conveyor that she had never noticed me behind her. And she says, wait, you don't work here? I tell her, no ma'am, I thought you just might appreciate a little help. She then gave me the biggest hug, and with tears in her eyes, she said, thank you so much. I then smiled again and said, you're welcome. I then followed her out and helped her load everything. She then thanked me again and told me that she dreads going to the store because it was so difficult for her and people were always getting frustrated with her when it came to checking out. And that's when I shook my head. I said to her, that is sad. I'm sorry about that, but back home, stuff like that doesn't happen. If someone needs help, we help them. That's when she starts to tear up again. She then hugged me and thanked me once more. I told her to have a nice day and headed back to my truck.
Okay, first, we just did this story here recently. So that lets you know there's not enough good in this world. 2, he's from South Louisiana, and there's no race issues where he's from. Sir.
We just read it. Like I said, LOL, we were just talking about
right? Like, sir. You know, the people that I meet in the South that are the most adamant that race doesn't matter are not subject to it. So anybody out there, if you come across this, if you ever hear somebody say that race doesn't matter, that we're all equal, we're all humans, we're all children of God, and all those wonderful things that we say to help ourselves go to sleep at night. I encourage you to interact with some other communities that don't look like you. You don't even have to like engage them directly in conversation. Genuinely, just be present and maybe make a friend. And eventually, you'll start to see behind the curtain. Race does matter. To what degree can depend. But if race didn't matter, they wouldn't be rounding up everybody who looks Latino and making them disappear. And then when they were like, well, hey, you're going to be grabbing some people that are American citizens. And then the response is, well, I guess we're going to get a few wrong. That's race. Like we just stepped out of immigration status and went right into race. As soon as you say, ooh, well, yeah, I mean, can't get it all right.
Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. As soon as it happens. I don't want it a day or two afterwards. Y'all let me know when y'all outlaw sunset towns. Y'all let me know that.
Sundown. Yeah.
Sundown towns. Y'all let me know when that's outlawed.
Oh, they don't believe they exist.
Oh, they exist.
Oh, I know, but they don't believe they exist. And then they definitely back now. Bro, driving, I'm in Georgia, right? You're in North Carolina, so I know y'all got it. The Confederate flags and all that mess, they are very prominent now. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm like, now they've always been a few smatterings, right? You knew when you drove through that particular town. But now, like, yo, I'm seeing them in many more places than they were prior to this guy getting back in office.
When I took Foxy to the hospital, and I went and smoked my cigar out of the truck, I would say I was so shocked, but I'm not. Let's just say that. First time I saw somebody who actually had a Trump bumper sticker on his car, on his Jeep. And I just went.
You in North Carolina, bro.
I'm also in Charlotte, so it still kind of threw me like, oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Because I'm out here and I see Trump stickers not all the time. Pretty regular.
I rarely see them. I mean, seriously,
Oh, wait a minute. I live where I live, though. So
yeah. And I live in a pretty liberal, hush, keep your mouth shut type of deal. Like
very conservative where I'm at. We got a Confederate cemetery like less than 3 miles from my house. Like, yeah, well taken care of too. Like, got fresh flowers and visitation and cars be over there. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I see minimum of 2 bumper stickers on cars going to and from work here in Kentucky. It's Kentucky.
Bro, you're in North Carolina.
I'm still don't see them. Sorry. I just don't see them. I know they're out there. Now, wait a minute. That's not true. When we started getting close to election, they started putting stickers on the street lights. So that's not true.
Gas pump.
When I used to walk to the cigar place, somebody's the street lights that covers that street, and then somebody stuck up a Trump 2024 stickers on all the lights. So let's say it was 7 lights for that block. And they stuck a sticker on all 7 lights. Trump 2024.
Yeah, it's probably the same person. Yeah.
And then the next day they were all gone.
Yeah, I'm out here, man. I'm in Metro Atlanta, but there's pockets. So I even got a person who had a MAGA flag in his yard.
I haven't seen that because of the neighborhood I stay in, and look, I even had to stop Foxy. We have it in the garage right now. A Kamala Harris yard sign. I'm gonna stick this in the yard. No, you ain't. No.
But y'all in a liberal area. It wouldn't hurt nobody.
But people know where the liberal area. We have a very diverse neighborhood, and we have some traveling people.
We even have Buddhist monks.
We do have a Buddhist monk community, like up the street, a whole compound.
Yeah, well, they usually have them like that. That's pretty cool how they do their thing. It's a little ostentatious for my taste, but
they don't have meetings anymore, do they?
They do in summer.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of them lately.
Yeah, but one of my neighbors had a Trump yard sign, and and when it was funny, like the sign wasn't there until Trump won, and when he won, the sign showed. I'm serious. After he won, then the Trump sign goes in the yard. And what's even more hilarious to me is it's a Latino household. So
I remember you telling them that.
Yeah. Well, then the deportation started. The sign went away. So it's like, could be coincidental.
It's weird how some of the same people who will have Trump flags and signs are also end up having signs for democracy. And the Bashir, who won the governor race here a few years ago.
Yeah, but oftentimes governors and mayors get to function almost above political parties. Certain places it's very important, like New York, but a lot of times you can somehow separate yourself enough where you can be a Democrat and get Republican votes and vice versa. But now that all elections are becoming national, I think it's a lot harder for
them. Yeah. I mean, there's a nuance to it where people, and this is not as flat as I can make it or as simplified as you make it, but you don't say it, there's levels to it. I want a Republican running my country. I want a Democrat running my state.
Yeah.
Welcome to North Carolina. Welcome. I don't have a problem with a Republican running the country. Who the heck was the last Republican running our state?
Well, my whole thing is like the
I
Republicans.
think our old mayor was the last Republican that ran our state. We ain't got one yet since then. That was 19 something.
Well, the thing with the Republicans is it's kind of wild to me is the more indecent. Don't just leave me up here because I ain't got a lot to say. The more indecent that they've gotten, the more power they've accumulated. It's going to be awkward. I don't have anything to say. Hey, y'all.
I thought I was trying to look for the name. But anyway, let's get into it. Foxy's videos of the McCory. Yep. McCory was our old governor, and then he ran from there. And I think that was our last Republican governor. Because he was really terrible up there. He was a decent mayor, but as a governor, no. Anyway.
I don't even know who ours are. I know, like, right now, who's our governor? Kemp?
Yeah.
And so people have just gotten over the fact that he literally rigged his election to win the first time.
I don't even know why we even mess with him. I should have just asked Parker, Pat McCory.
But since he's done a decent job, people leave him alone, you know. But he's been doing a decent job because of Atlanta pushing hard against him on stuff. So he has to do what keeps his money straight. But before that, it was Republican. Last time we had a Democratic governor, according to this here, was Roy Barnes in 1999 to 2003.
Told y'all a long time ago, stop calling North Carolina a swing state. You're all a swing state. Y'all voted Republican. We voted in 2 Democrats. 2.
Yeah, it's great for media attention to say.
Yeah, we ain't swinging jack. And it was Obama and Carter. So it was a decade between the. Come on, we're not swinging in a way. Anyway, another Florida man.
No recollection of that happening at all.
At all. This store sells some good liquor. I drank a lot of it that night.
The viral video shows Robbie Stratton running through a convenience store with an alligator in his hands. He takes the animal in the beer fridge as well.
I don't even remember coming up here.
We asked Stratton where the alligator came from.
No clue. No clue. I literally came to the store and he was in the back of the truck. They told me what I did was stupid and I'll be facing some charges here soon and probably go to jail, probably not. We'll see.
He says he regrets his decision.
I'm trying to do better. You know, I'm just trying to do better.
That was some good liquor.
No, that was some bad liquor. Somebody helped that man buy liquor that's not bottom shelf because it's definitely not good for him.
You don't remember it. You don't remember where the alligator came from. You don't remember the whole situation. So let me give you a suggestion. Unless there is a situation that's medical, not substance, medical, there should not be a pocket of your memory that's gone. Okay? You may need to check into that.
Yeah, I've only been blackout drunk once.
I've never been blackout drunk.
I was in my 20s.
Never.
Woke up on my bathroom floor. Across town from where I started from.
Do you remember how you got there?
Well, I mean, I know how I got there is, you know, because went to a party with my best friend who was also my roommate. So that's how I got home. But he said he just left me in the bathroom on the floor and went to bed. That makes sense.
I think you regret a decision you didn't even remember making.
I think he probably regrets not remembering. Listening to him, I don't think that his regret is that he's going, face charges, because he sounds like, yeah, I'm facing charges, and maybe I won't. Man.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I've been here before, man. It's all good.
I just walked into the police department. Yeah, here I am.
Hey guys. Hey, Tommy here. I'm back. Hey, do I have any charges? Is there anything I need to address while I'm here? I'm good right now. All right, I'll chat back later.
Y'all know where to find me. Being real.
And folks still out here worried about genders making transitions. Some of you men will be better off becoming a woman, so at least we could begin to understand the bitch in you. You got parents out here kicking out their kids for their sexuality, but protecting the school shooter. You got folks outside of abortion clinics holding up signs telling folks they going to hell, but I have yet to see a protest on the front lawn at the home of a rapist. You rather teach your daughter what she can and can't not wear, but not teach your son how to respect the female. You once judged your daughter's boyfriend for committing theft just so he could feed his brothers and sisters. Meanwhile, your company has embezzled millions for years for greed. You got people out here judging folks that go to public school, but it turns out private schools like to keep things a little too private. And you want to use the Bible to unjustify their sins, and you want to skip over the ones that taunt yours. And you have folks that literally stood on the front lines for this country and can't even come home and get some peace. And you say they the ones with the mental health issues, but our government sent missiles over to a whole nother country because they ain't like their attitude. But that's neither here nor there. And you trying to tell me that if I have a baby daddy, I gotta be the one to force him to pay child support, and he don't have to worry about it. But a room full of men can make decisions on what a woman can and cannot do with her body. Tell me something. At what point will we be fucking for real? Like this. Or at least realize that we worried about the wrong damn business. I'm starting to think y'all don't want peace.
Yep, I agree with her. Some of her points were a little disjointed, but I agree with her. And I definitely agree with her because it's the same kind of stuff I always talk about. Like, come on, man. What is we really talking about? No.
All right, let me get to this last one because this is going to be fascinating. Susan, I saw all your comments. I didn't want to put any of them up because I knew he was going to get back into it. He's saying the Bible for Chicago. I'm saying the Bible for Black people.
I asked ChatGPT to explain the Bible in language that people from Chicago can understand. It's all the trend of people asking ChatGPT to explain the Bible, so I was like, let me try it like this. Genesis. God made the world. Folks started tweaking, so we wiped it out and started fresh with Abraham. Should have been Noah, but ChatGPT gets stuff wrong. That's why you shouldn't depend on it. So it says, God slid for his people, got them out the trenches of Egypt and gave them the law. Leviticus says God told them, if y'all want to rock with me, you got to stay clean and move right. They were supposed to hit the promised land quick, but they kept tweaking, so God made them spin the block for 40 years. Deuteronomy, Moses gave them one last talk before he clocked out, telling them to stay solid and y'all gonna eat. Joshua, they pulled up to the promised land, caught some bodies in God's name, and took what was theirs. Judges, every time God blessed them, they fumbled the bag and got pressed by enemies. Ruth, Shorty stayed loyal, got blessed, and ended up in King David's family tree. Samuel, Israel wanted a king, got Saul, but bro was goofy, so God anointed David instead. 2 Samuel, David became king, made some plays, caught a few L's, but stayed God's boy. 1 Kings, Solomon ran the kingdom smooth till he started simping for foreign women, and after him, everything fell apart. 2 Kings, every king either rock with God or tweet, and the ones who tweet got their city took. 1 Chronicles, a recap of David's reign and how he stayed 10 toes with God. 2 Chronicles, more king drama. Same results. When they followed God, they ate. When they didn't, they got packed up. Ezra, exiles came back, rebuilt the temple, and tried to get right with God again. Nehemiah rebuilt Jerusalem's walls while ops kept hating. Esther, Shorty finessed her way into the palace, saved the whole squad from getting wiped out. Oh, bro lost everything, states.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Some of them words I didn't understand. Sorry, I don't. Some of them words I just didn't get.
No, I followed it all. It's not all of it isn't my current slang, but I could pick it up. It's cool. It's just another way to interpret it. They could use that as a sermon if they want to.
He can walk into the police station with the alligator. It looks like he had a pretty good grasp on things when it came to the animal. He looked like he was wavering. He didn't look like he knew what he was going in there to do. I don't know. All I'm saying is, bro, if you got a moment of time that's missing, they got you on camera with an alligator walking to where the most beer is. You got some sense of what's going on.
Now, if you're blackout drunk, you can't really formulate intent, can you?
Yeah, you can.
How?
Because you can't control what happens after you get blackout drunk, but you can control what got you blackout drunk.
Yes, but it's not illegal to get drunk.
Blackout drunk and you broke the law, yeah, you're still responsible.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I'm just kind of challenging the thought process here, right? Because a big part of the law is your intent. Now, it doesn't always hold up. Like, you got involuntary manslaughter. Like, you didn't intend to do it, but it happened. You still got to be held accountable, right? But shouldn't you end up with a lesser crime because you can't formulate intent? I can prove you did it. Got you on camera. Which nowadays, even being on camera really doesn't hold up anymore, because you just say that the tape was doctored or something. But yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that.
I got all of that, and I've only been in Chicago once or twice. I don't even know what tweak means, so kind of threw me. The rest of it, shorty bag and everything else I got, but I didn't get what tweak means. So it's like,
Well, tweaking is like being high and out of pocket.
oh. And the funny thing about it is how you just made a definition of tweaking with another slang, out of pocket.
I don't know a better way to describe being out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like acting inappropriately and unruly. I don't. Out of pocket feels better. I don't even fucking explain.
Quicker. You was very disrespectful. Well, bro, you coming out of pocket for real. You just ain't gonna talk to me in that type of way. You know, it's just, well, I just messed up my own thing. Like, it's quicker. Nope, you got to keep talking.
You don't have to. It's just if you don't keep talking, it can stop at threat level. Hey, bro, you out of pocket. That's a threat.
Yeah.
Right. That's one more again. One more again. You know, you got one more time now. But it's cool.
That's a good question. Like, if there's a significant difference in charges for someone dying to a drunk driver as opposed to someone intentionally running over someone while sober, look at misdemeanor as third-degree murder.
I don't understand how we got all these degrees. That's what's wild to me.
I mean,
we got about 5 different ways to commit murder.
In some states, it's third degree. Okay. Manslaughter it was your fault because you didn't take the time to correct what you was doing and somebody lost their life. Second degree, I just was really pissed off at what happened. And I know I didn't plan to kill somebody, but they died. First degree is real simple. I planned all of this. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I wrote it down in a notebook. I put all the pieces together. That's first degree.
But here's the question, right? So I'm looking up manslaughter, right? Because like first degree is intent, right? Clear intent.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't understand these things. I think it is all highly subjective, and it's done so that they can sentence people differently according to how they feel. But voluntary manslaughter involves killing in the heat of passion, while involuntary manslaughter involves killing through criminal negligence, right? Now, involuntary manslaughter, person still died, but they died because you were negligent, right? You didn't mean to do it, but because you did something wrong and then it resulted, there you go. Voluntary manslaughter, that's like you walked in on your significant other and they doing the squiggly diggly, and you decide to let off some heat. You might get involuntary manslaughter, but you might also get second degree.
Yeah.
So it's like there's too many layers in there.
It really, like I said, it really depends on the state, because involuntary and voluntary could be, I heard some sounds. Like that story where the guy said he grabbed the cricket bat, but he thought about it for a second because he caught his girl in there with some other dudes and he just threw the clothes out. Maybe this is a wild guess, really wild guess. Maybe it's the time frame from it. Like I walked in the house, I heard him, I grabbed my bat, beat the crap out of him because I'm just seeing red. Maybe voluntary is I heard them, they in the room, sat there for a second, thought about it. Nah, I gotta take care of this.
Well, that'd be first degree at that point. You had a moment to contemplate, and then you committed to a decision. But here's a better one. All right, to me, I don't know if it's better because it actually kind of confuses me. You know your actions may result in the death of another person. That's second degree murder. So, like, if I do this thing, somebody might die. I don't know who. I'm not targeting nobody. I should just know better. All right. So I guess that's what, driving your car into a crowd, maybe? I don't know. All right. Then you got your behavior shows you don't care if someone dies because of your actions. That's voluntary manslaughter. I'm not understanding how that's different.
You don't care?
Right. I'm not seeing how that one's different.
There was an episode of The Jeffersons. This is how my mind works.
The Jeffersons, bro?
Yeah, I'm really going back to The Jeffersons. But this is how my mind works. It was an episode of The Jeffersons when Florence found out that the dude she was dating has a murder charge on him. He did his time and everything. Well, it turned out the murder charge was a misdemeanor. And he did his time and everything else. And Florence would say, just asking me what happened. Well, I came home, with some flowers and some candy for my wife because I've been working all these hours and everything. And I come in and I find that she's with another dude. The dude ran out the room. I slapped my wife. My wife fell down, hit her head on the table and died. So he got manslaughter.
That's involuntary manslaughter.
I meant to slap you.
Right.
I ain't mean for you to fall, hit your head, and die.
Yeah, but the thing is, he could get second degree murder according to this definition, or he could get involuntary manslaughter because he committed the criminal act. And then as a consequence, you definitely need to get you an attorney.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. It's like a matrix. That's one of the reasons why our legal system is garbage. I would like to see this, and I floated this before in a different video I made probably 2-3 years ago. But you go to trial, you go to trial, and I think that the jury should be in a completely different room from the accused. The only person who should see the accused would be the two lawyers or the legal counsel, right? The judge doesn't see him, and the jury doesn't see. That way, and the names are not provided. You're just, defendant one or something like that. That's your name. And see, I think that would be a lot better. I would even say you have to add another layer where the person who's on the stand is not actually being directly heard, I guess you could say. So that when they're speaking directly to the lawyers, because you get to face your accusers, right? So you got the lawyers there and they see you. But I just think it would be good to kind of separate things so that truly, when the judge is deciding on their verdict, they never saw this person. And the jury, as they're making their decision, they're not looking at that person either.
Trying to eliminate bias.
Yeah, or at least reduce it a good bit, because like if you can't see me and I'm on and I'm the one on trial, aside from if you get me talking about certain things and I use certain vocabulary, for the most part, you would not know who I am. But if you talk in much more of a relaxed way of speaking, I can pick up certain things now, right? I can listen to your accent, see how country you are, but okay, these probably sound like a little white boy from the country, or okay, he's straight. Yeah, he sounds like a city kid. So yeah, okay, in my mind, he's probably black. Oh, listen to his accent. He's got an accent. I think that he's Latino, and I have certain biases towards Latino. That's why I'm like, how about we find a way to strip some of that out? But we won't, because we actually want the biases.
You could all start all the way to back as when you come to court, wear a suit. Be presentable. There are some jurisdictions where it's like you can't have him walk into court with a jail suit on. That's bias. Like he's already convicted. You got to find him some clothes.
Yeah. I mean, but you can have them be in whatever you want them in if you can't see them. But yeah, I agree with you. Like you come in there, you can be innocent. You just didn't have enough money to make bail. And the charge that they're trying to get you on is a violent offense, even though they haven't been able to prove it. And if you get into the trial process, it's all circumstantial. But the fact that you sitting in there with an orange jumpsuit with DOC on your back and you're handcuffed to the desk
and your feet and your leg, ankle.
You entered the courtroom shuffling. Yeah, he did it. Yeah. Or you got tattoos all over your face. Oh yeah, yeah, I think he did it. I just prefer that if justice is supposed to be blind, make it as blind as possible.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get out of here. Theus, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me right here hanging out with Mr. Marlon and Miss Anna. Yeah, I'm not even going to announce my new projects yet because I still got some more work to do. But thank you. I want to say this to everybody. Hey, thank you, everybody who gave to help support making a donation to my mom's church. Really appreciate it. We were able to get a lot of like canned goods and stuff like that into the food pantry. So they were very appreciative. They really thank you. And I thank you.
All right. As y'all should know, next week is the last week of the month. Next week is the last two shows that we'll do for the month.
Oh, and tomorrow's my anniversary. Happy anniversary, Tiffany. Golly, dang.
Oh, that's nice. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Getting on my nerves, man.
Also, next Sunday is my birthday. Like, slapped on that day. So
happy upcoming birthday, because you won't be recording because it'll be the last weekend of the month.
No, the weekend after is the last weekend of the month.
Oh.
So we got one more set of shows. But Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ.
I appreciate Anna. I appreciate Diaz. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
So this whole Marco Rubio thing is not working out the way he thought it would, it looks like. Poor Marco.
I'm not holding my breath. A lot of stuff ain't working out, so good.
Hey, where's Ted Cruz?